Good morning, and it's our last day in Korea. We're actually getting the ferry from Busan to Fukuoka. Still not sure how to pronounce it. I've got to go down to the money changers and get some yen. All we've got is Korean won. We're really going to miss Korea. The food, the lovely people. It's been a lot of fun, but it's time. It's just a short visit. Maybe we can come back. In the meantime, come with us on the journey on the JR Beetle hydrofoil 3-hour journey from Korea to Japan. So I should maybe talk about changing money in Busan in Korea. It's really good to actually get your money changed when you're here. It's not difficult. You can do it in the banks, but they're also, if you look, like in this building here, a little hard to find, there's a money changer in here. And they're quite happy to take my Australian dollars, for example, and exchange them to Japanese yen, so not Korean won. You might think this is it, this little digital bank. That's just a kiosk, like a ATM machine. And it's the next street over from the market. So you can see here, money box, money exchange. You just press the button. Now I've been in there, I've got my yen, so I know that you can change the yen over. Really easy, lovely service, very honest, you know, as honest as money changers can be. So, little tip. You're probably going to get better rates here in Korea for your foreign currencies with most foreign currencies, but do your research. That's just my opinion. I'm really just going through some closing thoughts now of what I found here in Korea. Apart from wonderful people, great food, there's this market street, which our guest house is right next to. I mean, it's barely 20 feet from the beginning of this market street, which is really famous here in Hyundai. At the beginning of the market street, they have these very popular food stores. Now, I'm going to say avoid these. This food, this food is out there from morning to night, from early morning to late night, just out in the street. They refry it, but I've never bought from there. I'm just not comfortable, because down here on the market itself, inside the market, and that's just on the entrance, and it does capture most of the tourists. You're going to find most of them buying their food. On this market street, there are dozens of kitchens making fresh food, fresh versions of this same food daily. At the end, sorry, I do jump over my words a little bit. At the very end of this store is where the lady does the cheese and honey donuts, which are just to die for. Oh man, that is really good. I'm not sure what dough. It's like a really sort of sweet and salty donut. Oh, absolutely delicious. And because she's on the corner, she's at the end, she's about the only one down here that makes them fresh to order every time. Fresh to order. So look out for that. When you come to these sort of markets, check out. If you see a place that's got food out in the open like that, and the food is out in the open when you go there in the morning and then late in the evening, there's always the chance, I don't know, I just wouldn't eat from there. There's much better in the market itself. Oh, by the way, this dumpling shop is very good. The food's all undercover. The food is really good. Around about 4,000 to 5,000 won per plate. So the wind is getting up now. Busan, by the way, seaside town, very windy. 4,000 to 5,000 per plate, and it's a big plate of food. I mean, the first time we went there, we ordered 2 plates, and I was so stuffed. It was really hard to finish it, because there's free kimchi with all of these as well. They tend to provide you sort of unlimited kimchi. So the second time we went there, we just got 1 plate, and it was still very filling. So what is that? It's probably around about $7 for a decent meal. Not too expensive. And all the little stores down here are selling fresh produce, fresh kimchi. I do find the further you head down to, what is it? Let's call it PC Bene. The PC Bene end of town. The further I go down here, the fresher the produce tends to get, the fresher the cooking is. We've had some really good food on this street actually. I must have eaten here at least 6 times. We never did get to have the hagfish or the eels. I'll regret that. We'll do that when we come back next time. Another great thing, this little eatery here, we might try this today before we set off. They put all their food out in pretty little plates here, and they do often look just about like that when they serve them as well. So between, what are we looking at there, 7,000 to, no, 6,000. This one here, cold noodles, to a warm plate of noodles for about 7,000, which is about, I think, $9 Australian. So what is that, about $6 US? Not bad at all. My very, very favorite place to eat in the whole of Busan at the moment is this little stand here, Hotiek. Such a sweet lady, absolutely love her. She cooks fresh. My second favorite, as I've come around the corner, is this little dumpling shop here. Again, fresh cooked. The guy's a little bit grumpy, but the girl who serves here, she's absolutely delightful. So yeah, any other little thoughts I have about Korea as we exit, I'll share with you. So let's get on. So the market is here. Daily Pan, which is a little bakery shop, is here. And our guest house, the little blue sign in there, Mama Guest House. Highly recommend. Simple, but comfortable, clean, lovely hosts. We've had a great time. Couldn't have picked a better place to be honest. I'm going to be sad to leave. And there is a single staircase coming up to the guest house. The entrance here is on the first floor, Mama Guest House. Lovely place. So for those of you wondering how we travel, small backpack and a small suitcase. Not too bad, 4 years on the road. Not too bad at all. And we're still carrying more stuff than we need. So, there's a bus stop just at the end of our street, so barely a couple of 100 meters. And the green light. So we're in no hurry today. If I have one tip about traveling, because I keep hearing travelers saying, oh, are you going on the morning boat or the morning flight? It's a lot of, to me anyway, it seems a lot of stress getting up early in the morning and trying to get out. You know, so we get a 3:30 in the afternoon bus. Yep, 1003. 3:30 in the afternoon ferry, so we don't have to get the bus till quite a bit later on. And you can just relax and, you know, unstress, so there's some time. We're going to get to the ferry terminal with a couple of hours to spare, so we can check that out, pick up our tickets. Famous last words, all seems to be going well. Now, one thing we have done, because we're not sure 100%, when we go into Japan, they may insist, and I'll update you on this, they may insist on ongoing travel plans. Now, because we travel constantly, we usually only book one way, arrive in a place, and then we make our exit plans when we get there. What we've decided to do this time is book a flight out of Japan on Expedia. They do a very good service where it's 24 hours, you can cancel it. So we just booked a random flight out of Japan. So if the immigration want to see a flight, onward flight, we can show it, and then when we get into Japan, let that bus go, then we'll just cancel it and organise our onward travelling from there. So it's a good tip if you're a little uncertain. Almost every country we've been to so far hasn't needed it. Michelle thinks there might be a small chance that Japan is a bit pedantic about this and does want us to have an ongoing flight. So we This is probably the first time we've done it in all the countries we've been to. We've always been worried about it in some countries, but a little bit of research has always said, no, don't worry about it. But here in Japan, we're not going to take that risk. So we booked a free to cancel 24 hours flight on back into Korea, strangely enough. So that was interesting. And I'm finding Busan is a much bigger, would you call it a city? I don't know. It's bigger than I thought, because we've driven for nearly an hour on that coach, and it's starting to feel a bit like Hong Kong. It's huge. So we're going to cross over, head in that sort of direction. Much busier than I had first. I thought that little seaside town was pretty much Busan. It's not, is it? So the whole time we've been here, we've been in this lovely little seaside town.
It's a big city.
And it's a big city. Can you hear the knocking? I thought that's the sound. That's the sound of the crossing, the green crossing. But it's not. It's this lady. This lady knocking. Hello. Show me now. That could confuse you, couldn't it? You stood at a pedestrian crossing and that starts knocking. Now here's where Korea does get complicated, because we've only got to go a couple of 100 meters now, but I'm not sure which way. I've asked 5 people. One of them's tried to sell me an apartment block. The other lady's knocking sticks together. So yeah, it's going to be interesting just to find. I think we've got to go down there, maybe a block. But let's see. Who'd have guessed the last few 100 meters of the journey was going to be the hardest? Everything's been sort of cruisy up to this point. Now we can't find the way to the boat station. So we're currently in Busan. Where are we? What's this place called?
Busan Station.
So Busan Station. There's no information. Plan your trip. But there's no information. A little frustrating. Now luckily we've given plenty of time. But I can tell you, it's like landing on Pluto in some respects. As for getting information, you've got to be fair, the actual routes are pretty navigable though. Crossing roads, getting through buildings. Probably going to get a lot of wind on this. But the routes are fairly navigable. But it's just knowing which route to take. You have to remember that Google Maps doesn't work here. I mean, you might look online and see it comes up beautifully, but when you try to navigate anything with Google Maps, it just doesn't work. They use a map system called Naver here in Korea. That does work, but you have to really be able to read and write Korean for most instances. Now, unfortunately, we couldn't get the train that came into that station easily. There were too many connections to make, so we decided to take the bus. If you had a lot of luggage, don't do the bus. We travel fairly light, but if you have a lot of luggage, don't do the bus. There's no baggage spaces on the bus whatsoever. So and they're pretty busy. So in hindsight, I'd probably say jump in a cab. That is looking promising. Beetle. That is the line that we're on. Happy days. It's right near the place we've just come up. So let's get our tickets and check in. So as it happens, we're here early. You can't even check in for another 25 minutes, but that's good. I'd rather be here early. We're just hang around the ladies' suite here. She just had a little chat with us, and you have to pay a tax, a sort of departure tax when you leave. For the two of us, it's 22,000 and a little bit Korean won. So you have to pay that in cash. You can't prepay that. So make sure you've got cash, or you can use your credit card, the lady said as well. We have cash for that. So I can confirm they do want sight of a ticket leaving Japan. So that's the first time. And a little bit sort of antiquated. Come on, countries around the world. I can book a ticket and cancel it when I arrive. It seems so antiquated. People don't always travel under your sort of uniform rules of arriving and leaving on certain dates. And I know people might say, oh, borders, borders, borders. The world does not belong to governments. People own the planet. And we should be able to travel where we like and when we like. Michelle just wants me to add that we never overstay our visas anywhere. But I'd just like to add, I don't think we should have visas for anywhere in the world. Nowhere. It's just unacceptable. You know, these barriers have been put up in the last sort of 200 years to stop people traveling. And I don't agree with them. You know, you forget you're crossing a border. So there's the immigration, there's the usual baggage checks. One remarkable thing is you can take your bottle of water through. It's not like flying where you have to empty a bottle of water. You can take your bottle of water through. No problems. And this is the boarding for the Beetle. So everyone's left their bags in the queue. So obviously you don't need to queue to get on because you've got your seats reserved. Hopefully we've got some fairly decent seats. And you've got a duty free here. Got nice, clean facilities. Plenty of fresh drinking water. Hot and cold. Very clean bathrooms. Nice terminal. You know, somebody said to us, why don't you fly? It's quicker because it's only an hour in the plane. But by the time you've got to the airport, done the check-in, waited for the plane, it took longer, trust me. And flying, well, you know my opinion on flying. I don't mind flying, have no problem with being in the air, just flying, it sucks. When we came in, maybe we should have queued because the baggage now. Is there a reason for queuing to get on? Is there a reason to get on early? I don't know. Really not sure. There's a long queue going right the way back now. We're out of luck. We'll get on as and when we can. We could have put a couple of bags, so maybe I'll let you know if there was any advantage to putting your bags in the queue. Apparently I just saw a sign saying no pictures allowed. Oh well.